Welcome back to ACOS SMF. It has been a bit. I have taken the entire summer off of podcasting so I can focus on being a dad and being a principal. But one of the main reasons I started to podcast was because I listened to a lot of instant reactions after Florida State football. And so now that Florida State just finished their first football game with the victory over Duquesne, I want to do my first instant reaction. And I'm curious, I'm not going to listen to any of the other instant reactions that I listen to until I do mine, because I am very anxious to see how my take compares to the No Cast, to Wake Up War Chant, to On the Bench, to Kelvin Hunt's Bill for Playmakers, to just all of them. I'll listen to those later tonight. But we just wrapped it up. It's been probably about 20 minutes since the game ended. And, of course, I don't watch from Tallahassee because I don't live in Tallahassee. I watch from right outside of Lubbock, Texas. So it is the true epitome of a bird's eye view. I am a long ways away. I had to flip over and watch a little bit of the Duncanville South Oak Cliff game before I got on here and did it. But it looks like Duncanville's got that wrapped up. Unfortunately, it looks like their quarterback suffered a bit of an injury just a while ago. And Duncanville has had horrible luck with their really good quarterbacks over the last few years. But anyway, let's get to the point. All right, so instant reaction over the Florida State game. Okay, so first of all, I'm glad. First and foremost, I was just glad to watch college football again. It's like just such a breath of fresh air when you can turn on the TV and watch college football. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go over and put it back on with North Carolina game. But not only did we get to watch college football today, we got to watch the Florida State Seminoles today. And I'm telling you, like, it's just nice to wake up knowing you have FSU football. It just makes for a happier life. And I just want to start off by saying they did take care of business. You know, we all had a really bad taste in our mouth last year when they played an opponent that theoretically should have been very much inferior to them. And that is what Duquesne came to Tallahassee as, a very inferior opponent. Not a bad football team, actually. I thought they represented themselves pretty well. But what I was waiting for, the big picture, was to see if Florida State took care of business like they should, and they did with a big win. Okay? So we're all happy about that. But let's kind of go through what we saw. And this will be fast. This will be short. And again, this is the big picture view. I'm going to start on defense. Normally I would start on offense, but I'm going to start on defense because I won't lie, I was a little concerned. So I'm watching this game thinking about, you know, and I did my win prediction earlier in the year, but I'm thinking about the big season. And I'm thinking about LSU, which is, you know, next Sunday night. And I won't lie, I've thought all summer as I've been just, you know, doing my thing, I've thought, you know, I think there's a good chance Florida State can upset LSU. I don't know if I feel the same about that or maybe a little less about that. I thought Florida State got better as the game went. And obviously that's going to happen. I thought their defense got better as the game went. I just thought it took them a while to get going. I thought they looked slower than I expected them to look. I think it took defensive line and linebackers, they always appeared to be making good reads and going the direction that they needed to go. They just didn't look as fast doing that as I think I expected them to look against Duquesne. And that worries me because I think LSU is about to bring a whole nother level of athlete. As the game wore on, I got a little less nervous because I thought they started playing better. I thought the defensive front started playing better. Like, take Jared Verse. You could see him beating the tackle quite a bit, but he just was never getting to where he was supposed to go. Take Tatum Bethune. You could see him making the right first 3 steps or so on his run read, but often he wasn't quite there as quick as what I expected him to be there. But it started to shift later on in the game. And I think that probably makes perfect sense because they started getting comfortable, and it's the first game of the year. So early I was worried about the defense. I'm still a little concerned. I would have liked to have seen some turnovers, but to Duquesne's credit, I thought they had a really good game plan to not – I think they came into the game trying not to get blown out and trying to represent themselves pretty well, and I think they did that. There were a lot of good things. Jared Verse did finally get a sack. I think Tatum Bethune started picking up the pace. I thought the defensive tackles were pretty solid for the majority of the football game. I thought the linebacker and core was more solid than it normally is. It's hard to tell with the secondary. They had a few guys at times run a little more open than what I wish they did. I like how they were moving Jamie Robinson around quite a bit, and he never appeared to be out of position. I was a little worried about Jerrion Jones. I wish we'd have got to see Coop, but evidently, hopefully he'll be back pretty soon. I'm not disappointed in the defense. It just seemed a tad bit worrisome. They seemed very solid, but we're going to have to be a lot better than solid. And, if last year's any read, we're going to get better as the year goes. They just seemed a little slower than what I was expecting them to be. It may have been my imagination. All right, but, overall gave up one score, and really that score was more caused by the interception. The kid should have pick sixed it, and he fell down. And so I don't think we can be disappointed in the defense, and there's probably anybody that out there probably completely disagrees with me. But like I said, I think we're going to have to play a lot better and a lot faster against the better opponents that we play. And it's really weird because it wasn't a bad defense. It looked like they were typically always going where they were supposed to go. It looked like they were always reading what they were supposed to read. And it didn't look like they were, I guess I should use the word tentative. It felt like they were being a little too careful. And I don't think they're going to be able to be careful. But again, late third, fourth quarter, they started coming up. There was a play early on. I think it was a third down play on the left hash. And then I think it was maybe 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7 or something like that. And the receiver caught it right about 5 yards from the sideline. And we didn't attack him. I think it was Jerrion Jones over there, and he made a good tackle. That's what I'm saying. He made a really good play. He used the sideline. He was not going to give up the big play. But I think late last year and then again later on tonight, there were times where we would come up and just obliterate that guy in the legs. He ain't going anywhere. There was a play later, and I can't remember who made it, where it was kind of the same thing, and the guy caught the ball, and we were on him immediately. And that, to me, is how we finished last football season. We got good last football season because we were uber aggressive, yet we didn't give up the big plays. And I think that's what we're going to have to be. I don't think you're going to be able to beat – I don't think you can go into a game against LSU and think don't give up the big plays. Yes, you do got to think that, but let's be real tentative. Let's get our reads, but make sure we're going to the right place. I think you're going to have to trust yourself, trust the coach, and trust the plan, and really go be aggressive. And like I said, I thought we saw more of that late tonight than we did early. It was a little concerning early. Offensively, it was just an interesting game. I'm very proud of Florida State for coming out and handling their business, and so we really, fans like me cannot be upset because, that's what they did. They came out and handled their business, but it seemed like they were just a little too careful. Even with, Jordan Travis, I thought he threw the ball exceptionally well, and I think he was really efficient. I don't have any stats in front of me, but I don't think he threw many incomplete passes. And the ones he did, though, that were incomplete, I'm thinking of the first one to Johnny Wilson could have been caught. He threw the deep ball really well. He threw those screens to Micah Pittman really well. but they just seemed safe. They seemed like throws we know Jordan Travis can make. So I shouldn't be upset about it, and I'm not upset about it. But I just kind of expected them to kind of try to make him uncomfortable, especially once we got a 3-score lead. Try to put him in some situations and make him make them some throws that are kind of out of his comfort zone to see how he does, because you don't get those chances very often after tonight. We have a really hard schedule. So I thought it was a really good game plan, and I thought we were really efficient. I thought we did a lot of good things, but I don't know that we saw if Jordan Travis can make some of the throws that we're going to have him make. And I think tonight was the environment to kind of try to do some of that stuff. We know we can run the football, and we did it very well. All three running backs had really impressive moments. I thought Treshaun Ward was substantially better than the other two. It seemed to me that he has a much better grasp of everything that he's doing. Toafili looks more explosive, but Treshaun Ward just seems... I think you could have handed him the ball it felt like he was going to get 8 to 12 easy every play with the occasional big run. And it just felt easy for him. I thought Trey Benson's yardage seemed a little harder for him to come by. And they're completely different running backs, and this was Trey Benson's first time running live, I think, behind, coming from Oregon, coming off an injury. But early on, it looked like he was, kind of drifting a little bit too much side to side. And, they kept talking about how many tackles he broke, but I felt like he was having to break tackles because he was not being overly, I keep using the word aggressive. He was not hitting the hole quite as hard as what I thought he might. Now, later on, when he had that touchdown, he made that little move and then popped to the outside to the left and went and scored. He looked really quick. Whereas Treshaun Ward's patience just felt different than Trey Benson's patience. Kind of like what I've been saying the whole time. It was a very weird game. Treshaun Ward's patience felt like it belonged with the play call, whereas Trey Benson's patience looked like he was going to kind of drift and try to make the big play. And he just was a lot stronger than those Duquesne guys. But that brings me back to what I'm saying. I don't feel like he's going to be able to do that against LSU and the athletes that they're going to have on the defense. So I'm real curious how this is going to translate next Sunday night. I just hit on Jordan Travis. I was impressed with Jordan Travis. I thought he took too many hits. I was ready for them to quit running him. We know Jordan Travis can run. I did not need to see that tonight. I have no doubt that he can carry the football. I did not want him taking any unnecessary hits tonight. I thought he threw the ball exceptionally well. Again, I just don't think they asked him to throw anything that they don't already know he throws exceptionally well. I thought Micah Pittman looked good, but similar to the defense, I didn't think he looked quite as explosive after the catch as I expected. He looked very strong after the catch, and you could tell he's going to be a very productive receiver. But I just maybe my TV was in slow motion tonight. I just didn't see anybody with that second gear that we're going to need to have later on. I am curious about the Johnny Wilson injury. I'm hoping that it's nothing major because I thought he looked good. I wish he'd have come down with that first one, but he got open on that second one, and his stature out there. We've got some really good-looking receivers, and Johnny Wilson is just such a blocker, and we are going to be a run-dominant team, and I think he's just going to be a really key figure for our offense. So I'm hoping that injury is something that he can be ready to go against LSU next week. I kind of wanted to see a little more from Malik McClain. I enjoyed watching Malik McClain on the punt return. He does a really good job of blocking those guys all the way downfield. I just think he has so much more offensive potential than what we saw all last year and what we saw tonight. So I'm hoping we see that. I was glad to see Deuce Spann get some catches because I think you can tell he can run. He too did not get loose, but you can tell he can. When he caught the the little quick screen and he did not get the first down when his helmet popped off on the left side. You can tell he gets from zero to his top speed really swiftly, which is pretty impressive for such a tall, long-legged kid. So I was glad to see him out there. I honestly thought we might see him a little more when they put Tate in and A.J. Duffy in, because everything I hear is they have a really good chemistry in practice. But I think he's got massive potential, and I just think we live in the world of college football where potential doesn't sit on the sideline. I think that's why we have a whole lot of these receivers that came from other schools, is because the other schools were letting their potential sit on the sideline. And I think if you got a guy that has the size and speed of him, if he can catch it a lick, he's got to be out there making some plays for you sometimes. Portier had, to me, the best catch of the game, and I thought he had a really solid game, but he went up and made a really good snag. Offensive line-wise, I tried to watch them really close. Again, this isn't like when I was coaching high school football with Huddle, where I can go back and watch. You could tell even though they did well, and I think our running backs helped them do well, but they still, in my opinion, we're a little slow sometimes getting to where they need to get. But it's still going to be one of the strengths of our team. The running game is going to be the strength of our offense. And I don't think anything about tonight made you question that isn't going to be effective. 3 backs, all over 100, and I honestly thought Rodney Hill looked pretty fun himself. But again, that's not going to carry over week after week after week, but I do think it will remain a strength week after week after week. I was glad we were catching punts. Micah Pittman doesn't have – I would love to see him return one for a touchdown, but as long as he comes up and catches them and they don't hit the ground and roll 28 yards and give us horrible field position, then I call that a win. Kickoff return, I think I'm just being overly critical, but I felt like Sam McCall ran the kickoffs back like Trey Benson was running the running back. I thought he was taking 2 or 3 really slow steps to try to let it develop, and then he tried to go, and I'm a firm believer that when you're playing the big guys, you just can't do that. I think you've got to catch that thing and hit it like a rocket. But it's Sam McCall's first ever game. He'll be all right. I didn't agree with the call on Ezra Thomas. I thought that was a good defensive play. Overall, guys, what I have nothing to complain about. I think LSU is going to be solid. I have spent all this time really believing that we can go to New Orleans and beat them. And I still don't not think that, but I think what I saw with such a lopsided victory today, I thought I'd walk away thinking, oh, yeah, we are about to be even better than what I think we're going to be. And I'm a very optimistic Florida State person, but I don't know that I think that. But I also think we played and coached a bit tentative, and we took care of our business. I don't think we took any risks, none whatsoever, on offense or defense. And I can't complain about that because we went out and won the game. I just think we'll look back and wish we had tested ourselves and maybe made ourselves a bit uncomfortable, because soon we're going to have to make some plays that are in the realm of uncomfortableness. So I'm very happy with the win. Hey, guys, we're 1-0, and last year it took a long time to get that first victory, so I know I'm nitpicking. I love this group of guys, and I love it because of all the podcasts I listen to. Y'all are all right there. You go to practices, you get to talk to these guys, and y'all do such a good job of allowing the listener to get to know them. But you can tell they love each other. You can tell they love playing. You can tell they love Florida State. So I really, really want them to have a successful year, because I think they're good kids that work really hard and are doing everything for the right reason. So maybe that's why I'm watching it thinking, guys, we're better than we were at the first of the year last year. But I just don't think we still today have any clue how good we really are. And we're going to have to, I think tonight we brought our B-plus game because that's all we needed to do what we had to do. And I think if you bring the B-plus game against LSU, Louisville, NC State, I think you'll be in a lot of those games, but I don't know how many of them you're going to pull off. I think we're going to have to bring the A minus to A plus game every week. So I'm hoping that happens next week. Hey, at the very least, next week's going to be LSU's first game, so they've got to still work out a lot of the stuff that we were able to work out tonight, and I think that's a huge advantage. Hey, at the end of the night, my first instant reaction was a Florida State victory. So even though I feel like I was too critical on this podcast, I'm still very happy. I just have such high hopes that we have a good season that's probably made me a tad bit more picking things apart than I had to be. All right, first instant reaction in the books. I'll be back. This will probably be my podcast throughout the football season because I'm so busy with work. But I will never be too busy to watch Florida State football because, as Danny Rojas says, football is life. Laters.